there are screws in the bottom of the pan, because that's probably some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen. It's covered in RTV. Alright, today's the day we're going to get the IDI on a stand, see if it's savable, see what kind of damage we got, if any, or if we just need to go find a power stroke to put back in that crew cab. Got her over to my garage where we have some real tools, among other things, an air compressor, space, all the things you want. The bell housing bolts aren't long enough. Well, two of them aren't long enough. So while I wait on a couple of longer grade 8 bolts to get here, we're going to strip some weight off the front of this engine. Start with a belt removal tool. And not walk under that. There's one. Two. Three. And four. It's gonna be a nightmare to put back on. See if I have any sockets that fit any of these without digging through my American stuff. I don't care what anybody says. The metric system is so much nicer for bolts and everything. If a 10 doesn't fit, you go to a 9 or an 11. If a half inch doesn't fit, you gotta start doing fractions and shit. Nope. I should probably get this fan out of here. That line with a wrench. Alright, there is the air compressor off. I didn't put these Crocs in 4-wheel drive either. Hopefully nothing falls on my feet. Just make piles for everything now. I'll organize it later. What else we got? A bigger bolt than I have right now. Yep. About 15 or 16 probably, or some fraction that I'm not going to be trying to guess around and find. Sounds like I need a new fitting on this air hose. Alright, there's the alternator. Guess we'll See if an air hammer will get this fan off real easy. Probably should have left those belts on. Done the fan first. That would have been the intelligent thing to do. With the vacuum pump out, hopefully that air compressor is not too loud. It's going to be nice to have a quiet one. Don't stand under your engine trimmings, kids. Unless you want to get squished. And your harbor plate seal fail. Alright, hopefully that thing didn't blow out your eardrums. Certainly blew out mine. So get these hoses out of here. It is still dripping cool. Oh my god. We got 6 gallons in the block. This thing is rusty. I think that's probably about good enough for my bolts to get here for the engine stand. I guess I could get this fuel filter off, or the used engine oil filter off in this case, since there's no diesel in that truck. First try. Look at that. There's a nut on the back. That's the wrong size for that. Just get a ratchet. Brain pan to put this in before it goes dumping oil all over the place. This is a clean drain pan. If anything comes out, I'll show you what we got in here. Oh yeah. I guess there's a little diesel in there. It's a little too thin to be straight oil. Set that there for now. Already losing bolts under the BMW. Let me get you guys in here. We got coming out of the fuel system. So 50-50 oil and diesel, maybe something like that. Once we get it on the stand, we'll get the headers off, the exhaust off, pull the valve covers. It's going to get torn all the way down to the block. So once I get those bolts and get it on the stand, we'll keep going. So the flywheel, the pressure plate, and the clutch disc look surprisingly good given the state of the rest of that truck. I'm assuming this is new, and then they just didn't drive the truck, probably because all the bolts are loose. I don't know what happened here, but this stuff looks okay. Look at the state of this. Holy shit. Do we even have oil in here? Oh. This is a big reason why we took this engine out. This freeze plug here is covered in RTV. I don't see a crack, but I also can't see much. So let me get all this cleaned up and we'll take a better look. Oh, we might be done before we even start. We got some like grinder marks or something on the block here. That's not from me. That was underneath the JB weld and RTV. We're still gonna tear it down. We need to know why there's screws in the oil pan, but that looks like a crack to me. So I'm gonna clean it up a little better and try to get a better look, but that does not look good. All right, now that it's cleaned up a little better, that's not helpful. You can see the crack in the freeze plug bore from here all the way to about here. So not only is this engine junk, but after getting into it a little more, turns out it's a 6.9 with a factory 7.3 turbo kit on it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So we have no interest in rebuilding this or saving it or finding a block. We're probably going to find a power stroke to put in that truck instead and rebuild that. But we'll still tear this thing down, get the good parts off of it. We got the turbo kit. Hopefully the heads are still good. We got some injectors here. So we'll strip it down anyway. I definitely want to know why there are screws in the bottom of the pan, because that's probably some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen. So we'll tear it down, get the good stuff out of here, scrap the block, find a power stroke to tear down, rebuild, and put in that truck. Start with the valve covers. That one. About as dirty as you'd expect. Another tube of RTV to go with the gasket, it looks like. All smeared around in here. All the push rods move free except this one. That valve might be open a little bit, might be all that is. Or it could be bent. I mean, who knows? It's probably bent. I think the cylinder we had 90 PSI for the compression test was number 3, if I remember right, on this side. That gasket's probably older than I am. We got 2 or 3 push rods over here that don't move. Don't spin, rather. They don't feel bent on number 3. Get these rockers out of here, get the push rods out. Okay. Oh, that bolt was loose. Let's see what the. Honestly, don't look that bad. Definitely used, but they're not wore out. Oof. This one's got some normal wear. This one's got a big chunk taken out of it. I hope y'all can see that okay. Well, things were going well. That was on number 2. They're all good except that one. We'll put these on the bench and roll them. I'm willing to bet we got 2 or 3 bent. At least. Get some of this bracketry off the front of the engine so we can start getting these heads off. Where's Bertha? Here she is. Where did the socket go? Get the injector return lines out of here. Get the injectors out. Injector return lines look new. Ish. Size of these things. Not that size. How about this guy? Nope. Injector 7. Also covered in RTV like everything else in this engine. I guess that's not RTV. I don't know what that was. About the same. Sounds a little crusty. Same over here. These are just covered in more oil. Except for number 3, that one bone dry. Oof. It's number 4. Some kind of thick, crusty oil on that one. These glow plugs out of here. Hopefully this little air compressor can get these head bolts out with the impact so I'm not sitting here fighting these. Or with any luck, they're just loose like the rest of the truck. I quit dripping oil all over my floor. Try to dig a bunch of grease off of these bolts you can't even see right now. I know at least one of y'all watching knows what that's like. Close enough. Tired of looking for American sizes. Oh, where's the ratchet go? That's the question. I think it's in my truck. Guess if I had any sense, I would have just used the impact that's laying right here. Let's see if this socket will do it or not. That bolt wasn't tight. Shocking, I know. Hopefully this sounds okay. I think it's my air handler in the garage screwing up the audio. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put an air handler in a garage, That way when you spill gas and shit in here, it finds all the little leaks in the ductwork, makes your house smell like gas. So that's nice. I think that's all the bolts, all the ones I can see anyway. Let me just rip this thing out of here. Oh. Is there a bolt back here I can't see? Just glue. Maybe not. This is the first time I'm tearing one of these down, so it seems like I don't know what I'm doing. It's half true. I don't know if this is a pin in this greased up hole or a bolt. I can't tell. Got a nice tearing down an engine you don't care about. Because who cares if you break some shit? Maybe. See if I can clean that up a little bit. Oh, yeah. Comes out so nice when the bolts are out. All sorts of debris and shit in there. Half that's probably from me though. This side especially. Just crusty. This other side's not as bad. But this side certainly is. I guess I'll go ahead and get this out so we can pull these lifters out, see how they look. After we get these out, get these heads off of here and see what that looks like. Alright, get you a little bit of a different view here so you don't have to stare at my ass all day. Hopefully that camera doesn't fall down. Guess we're going to find out. By camera, I mean my phone. Right onto the garage floor. First lifter looks not bad. Any bets on how many wiped cam lobes we got? Put them down in the comments. So far, these are shockingly nice. So far, there's basically no wear on the rollers. They've all come out of the bore nice and easy. Kind of just expected everything in this engine to be junk. That was a little chewed up on the top, just on the outside. Not too bad though. Well, if you can see it, like I said, I haven't rebuilt one of these. I don't know if this is similar to like a small block Chevy, where the drain in the valley is just the worst part of the casting. That's kind of what it looks like. Looks like they just punched it out with a hammer when they were done, but I know small blocks are the same way. Alright, that's all the lifters out. Let's see if old Bertha can get these head bolts out, or if I'm going to have to get a ratchet and a foot on this thing and all that. Hopefully not. Oh, yeah. Is there a head bolt under the exhaust? I don't think so. Tired. From there. Alright, let that air compressor shut off. Getting a little ahead of myself here. Exhaust manifolds are still on it, so let me see if I can get those off by hand so I don't have to run that compressor again. Seems like a long shot, but let's see. Oh yeah. Easy. You guys up north probably just rolling your eyes right now. Look at this. Oh, damn. Getting ahead of myself. Oh, there she goes. Looks like there's a new manifold gasket in here. Definitely want to make sure your headers don't leak when your block's cracked. Just twisting right out by hand. The head of the bolt looks atrocious. They're definitely old, but that's the only nice thing of living in Florida. I could do without the 100+ degree and 200% humidity, but the exhaust bolts almost always come out. I left the up pipe and all the shit on this one. Hopefully I don't drop it on my feet. Ugh. Looks like an exhaust manifold. What about this side? Not even tight. Not even remotely tight. I'm gonna take these off, put a new gasket on, and then not tighten the bolts. That's not even, that was hand tight. I did not pre-loosen these. We got 2 left. Not tight. Who at Ford thought it'd be a good idea, or International, whoever made this engine, to run the exhaust, that also wasn't tight, down around the bottom of the engine and merge into the passenger side, and then go to the up pipe. Why not just go around the back of the engine like a power stroke? Alright. There is a couple head bolts left to bust out. Hopefully the air compressor doesn't turn on. So I want to see what these cylinders look like. Should all be out except for that one that I missed. I got a washer in my shoe. I think that's all of them. No, it's not. I don't know where I'm going to put this. I guess just on the floor. Now, is that all? I think so. How much does this thing weigh? Holy shit. God almighty. Alright. Looks like new-ish head gaskets, too. Let me get the other one off. I'll get you guys in here. Looks like I missed 3 on this side. What the hell am I doing? Alright, let me wipe these out a little bit. Get you guys in here. Honestly, doesn't look that bad at first glance. Here's what we got in the cylinders. Honestly, I was expecting gouges, cracks. The other side. I mean, it's not great, but given the state of the engine, it's better than I expected. This one's got a little schmoo on the piston. Here's the heads. This is the passenger head. Nothing obvious at the moment. I haven't really looked at them yet. And the driver head. Alright, that's basically the top of this thing ripped out. I could pull the camshaft out. I'll probably do that in a minute, but I want to know what's going on in the oil pan. So give me a minute. I'm going to get all this shit cleaned up so I can quit tripping all over everything. We'll flip it over, get the oil pan off, and then we'll do the camshaft last. Right. Cleaned up all the parts, then proceeded to flip the engine over and dump all kinds of fluid all over the floor. So that's good. If I had, you know, any sense, I would have pulled the oil filter before I flipped it over, but I didn't. So that's part of the problem. Well, that's most of the problem. Let's see if we get this oil pan off. I can already see there's 3 or 4 tubes of RTV holding that thing on. So see if I can figure out what fraction we got here. Is it this one? Oh, it is. When I flipped it over, I heard a bunch of stuff rattling in the pan. One bolt fell out. So that's fine. Running out of space in my hand here. There we go. Definitely going to need a screwdriver of some sort. Good thing this oil pan's junk, because this funnel's going to be bent up by the time I'm done. There's the 3 screws. Well, if it wasn't an inch of sludge, I'd be able to see why they're in there. See if I can't clean that out a little bit. I don't see anything. Give her another little squirt. We'll get you guys in here. Here's what we got inside the pan, which is a whole bunch of nothing. I thought we'd have some self-tappers sticking through here. Got some heat marks in it. Flip it around. So 3 screws. Those are definitely screws. They're threaded and sharp. But really nothing going on the inside here. So I'm not sure what that was about. Definitely a lot of sludge in this pan though. It's all down there in the bottom. This is just oil. There's the rotating assembly. Seeing that we're not going to rebuild this or anything like that, I might just leave this in here so it's less for me to store. But we will pull the crank out, or not the crank, the other one, the smaller one, the camshaft out. Let me flip it over again, maybe? Or should I leave it like this? I think I'll probably flip it over. I was about to flip it over. There's one of the bolts I was rattling in the pan. It sounded like a couple. I know one fell out through the valley. Might be another one down here somewhere in a piston skirt or something. Who knows? That's what was in there. Got some bracketry to take off. I don't know if the thermostat housing needs to come off or not. I would assume not, but we're going to find out. Go ahead and pull this injection pump timing cover off. Where's my hose removal tool? Shocking. Probably invest in something other than a 1/4-inch electric impact. Very glued down. Unless I missed a bolt, I don't think I did. On here. This guy must have been sponsored by RTV or something. Injection pump timing gear. Looks okay. No broken teeth anyway. I guess we'll start getting, look at the dirt flying out of that thing. It's also bent. I don't know if the pulley's not seated on there 100% or if the shaft is bent for the water pump. Not that it matters at this point. Come on now. Work with me. Come on, you want to get thrown on the floor too? Oh, there you go. Well, that's not the right size. Let me go do math again. I know what fraction we need this time. Is it a 1/2 inch? Oh, it is. And the adapter's gone. God, if I could even see the bolts through all the sludge. So I got to pull the rest of this out to get the cover off. It's behind the crank pulley. I don't know if my impact's going to do that. Guess there's only one way to find out. Wow. Pretty sure that should have been tighter than that. Alright. Give me a minute. Let me get this cleaned up so I can see what I'm doing. And we'll get back with you. Alright, I guess that's me done for the day. I can't find my pulley remover anywhere to get that balancer off. And I tried to, pry it off, but that's not going to work. So, guess we'll never know what the camshaft looks like. I mean, based on the lifters, maybe not that bad, surprisingly. This is the old 6.9, the fake 7.3. She's toast. So, like I said, we'll keep the good parts. But the block is trashed. There's that crack again. You can even see it through the oil right to here. So next video, we'll find a 7.3 Power Stroke. We'll put that on the stand. Probably rebuild that down to the bare blocks and at the machine shop. Make sure it's brand new before it goes in that truck. Maybe beef it up a little bit. Maybe aim for, I don't know, 600 horsepower at least. So stay tuned for that. This is the end of the road for this old 6.9. As a side note, aside from the old 6.9 IDI being dead, what if we took an old BMW 3 Series, or better yet, a 7 Series, stab a Power Stroke in one of these, maybe put a straight axle in the back, just puke and smoke and roast in tires? If anybody wants to see that, leave a comment below.